This is me standing in front of what's widely considered to be the most haunted hotel in the US, the Stanley Hotel. Every ghost hunting program that comes here somehow has this insane, traumatic, life-altering experience after staying here for just one night. And I'm trying to do the same thing. I'm gonna try to spend a night here hunting ghosts because I have one simple question. Is every ghost show and paranormal YouTuber over-exaggerating? Or is it just Shane Dawson? Because I know that Shane Dawson is. These shows are quite literally designed to scare you. They go in with a preconceived notion that like, well, we've got to make an entertaining show and we're only here for one night, so we got to come up with something scary. So they add in scary music over every scene, scary sound effects, they dress all cool, and I'm pretty sure they just make stuff up too. And after filming this video and talking to the hotel staff, I have a lot of evidence. I just feel like as a viewer, we never get to actually see what the experience is like staying at one of these haunted locations. What's it like when a regular person that's not trying to make a scary video stays here? Are you actually guaranteed a spooky night of being tossed around the room by some guy that died 100 years ago? Or is it all fake?
That's somebody trying to back out of the... They got scared. They felt a presence and they're trying to leave. The vibe's off. We gotta get out of here. The Stanley.
The Stanley Hotel is probably most known for being so scary that apparently just one stay here inspired Stephen King to write The Shining. And I'll tell you the story of how that happened later, but ever since The Shining came out, this hotel has been the subject of countless ghost stories and paranormal investigations, most of which exclusively depict this place as this decrepit, creepy old hotel that only exists at night. But this place is actually like a beautiful hotel. It felt less like a portal to hell and more like a tourist attraction. When I got there were people milling around, taking pictures. The hotel was like blaring music. If I was a ghost, I would have been pissed. I can't haunt this place. It's too nice out. Nobody's even gonna be scared of me. There are a ton of different ghosts that haunt this hotel. Like, I think every article I read and every person I talked to at this hotel somehow knew about a different ghost that I hadn't heard of yet. It's like anyone who's ever so much as even looked at this building gets sent here when they die. I'm worried I'm gonna haunt this place when I die. There's the ghost of a housekeeper that was in an explosion at the hotel and still sticks around to fulfill her maidly duties, a cowboy ghost that supposedly kisses women in their sleep, and a lot more ghosts, many of which are tied to specific rooms, like my room, the Haberdasher Suite, because my room is haunted by a haberdasher. If you don't know what a haberdasher is, it is someone who haberdashes, which apparently is old-timey speak for sells clothes to men. It's just a men's clothes dealer. Okay, I'm about to enter the room for the first time. Supposedly one of the many haunted rooms in this hotel. I've heard that when stepping into a haunted space for the first time, you can immediately notice a different energy. Wow. But I walked all around this room, looked in every nook and cranny, and I gotta say, I did not really feel anything. Sign. There is a fly flying around. I don't know if you can see that. I keep seeing it smack into the window. He's trying to get out of here. He's scared. On a scale from 1 to 10, I'd say my spook level was hovering about a 1.1 on the spook meter. On the spookometer. No Bible. You know what, I feel like hotels like this often, because they're haunted, can get a pass if anything about their room is like shitty. Because they can either be like, well, the ghost did that. Sorry, your bed's fucked up, the ghost did that. Or just like people who are coming for like a haunted experience aren't looking for like the nice amenities of a hotel. They're not focused on the backsplash of the bathroom sink. They're focused on like, am I gonna start floating in the middle of the night? So you know what, I feel like we should be fair and actually do a review of this hotel room from a non-paranormal perspective. When you stay in the Haberdasher Suite, you'll feel like you were transported back to the early 1900s. And not just because there's a man trying to sell you a bowler hat in the corner. I'm talking solid wooden doors, no central AC, which according to an email was to preserve the historic feel of the room. A giant AC unit by the window, which does the exact opposite. I also like the fun historic pics of the hotel. Oh, that's the hotel in the background. That's tight. I thought this lady was holding a gun at first. That's why the hotel's haunted. This is moments before the first ghosts entered the hotel. This couple's just laughing, having a good time. This lady's like, yo, get a picture of this. In keeping with the theme of not keeping with a theme, the bathroom also felt very out of place.
This is actually a very nice shower. Some nice artwork over here. This is beautiful.
The bathroom had this like newly renovated farmhouse aesthetic, like something straight out of an episode of Fixer Upper. 0 out of 10, not historic, and too nice to be haunted. Seriously, when it started to get dark out, the only place I felt like I wouldn't get haunted was in the bathroom. I'd be peeing and the haberdasher would just be standing outside the door like, come out here. I can't haunt you in there, it's too nice. Come out here where it's old and creepy. Please. I want to sell you a hat.
Okay, this curtain has a stain on it.
Something was up with the bed too. Do my feet look higher than the rest of my body? All right, I'm settled into my hotel room. I'm chilling. I went to the hotel restaurant and ate some dinner. The view was beautiful and the food was just okay. And my spookometer is still going strong at a 1. Now you're probably wondering what I mean when I say that all of the shows that film here are over exaggerating. Unless you've watched one of these shows before, in which case you're not. You already 100% know what I'm talking about. Well, let's take a look at Ghost Adventures, which is hosted by what I like to call the Chris Angel of paranormal investigation, Zach Baggins.
This is a genuine, authentic haunt. The second I got my key and I shut the door, I pretty much said, all right, listen, I'm gonna have to get naked a couple times to take a shower. Sometimes in the middle of the night I get up to get water, and I can't guarantee that I'm wearing everything.
Oh no. Oh shoot. Is that something I should have done when I got here? Attention, all ghosts in this room. You are gonna see my dick.
From early childhood, I used to hang out around here. I've had 2 heart transplants. So every anniversary of one of my heart transplants, my parents would give me a weekend up here. I've had a lot of near-death experiences.
Wait, their gift to their son with severe heart problems was a trip to the scariest place in the country? Dude, I don't mean to pry, but your parents were 100% trying to kill you.
Our investigation will take us into 3 of the buildings that comprise the Stanley Complex.
The sound effects in this show are insane. They're designed to make you scared before anything scary even happens. I feel like I'm being shot in the chest every time they switch shots in this sequence.
The main hotel,
Whoa.
the manor house, and the
I'm hit.
carriage house.
Oh, fuck!
At 3 a.m., I was woken up by an unexplained noise, and shortly after that, my digital recorder captured an EVP.
Shut the door.
Stuff like this is pretty hard to dispute because it's impossible to tell if this is staged or not, or if this is just like static that happens to somewhat resemble a human voice. Without the text on screen, it kind of doesn't even sound like a voice. Like, let me play a different one, for example, and you try to tell me what you think it says. And here's what it says. Did you get it? No? I knew you didn't have what it takes to join the Ghost Adventures. Get out of my hotel room. And then we get to Shane Dawson.
I think they tried to decorate for Christmas, but it is scary. Why are all these chairs so scary?
Watching Shane Dawson investigate the paranormal is like watching a wounded deer try to investigate a theme park. It doesn't matter what happens, he's going to be terrified.
Oh,
Oh my god.
wait, are they fucking with us?
Try this.
Just unlocking the door to his room is almost enough to send Shane packing.
This is creepy as fuck.
It is a very normal hotel room.
Okay, can I just say something? And you're gonna think I'm being dramatic. My camera has been fine focusing this whole day. The second we got into this hotel, it stops fucking focusing every second.
I don't know if you guys know this, but cameras have a harder time focusing in dimly lit environments. That's like a well-known thing about cameras. It's pretty funny to try to pin that on a ghost.
What's in here?
It's not focusing on anything.
Yeah, you guys turned off all the lights. What is there to focus on? He's like panning around really fast and like getting really close to things in the dark. Like, I'm sorry, dude, the darkness is usually way crisper on this camera. But I think my favorite part about this is when Shane pauses the video and edits in text to point out something that he didn't notice while filming. I've shown this to so many people. Did you guys see anything? What did he think was there? I'm so confused. He didn't have to edit that in. It might be nothing? Yeah, no, it definitely was nothing. Throughout this video, Shane adds in sound effects that are designed to make his terrified reaction seem a little more justified.
Oh my god!
He'll hear like a tiny bump noise that came from outside and then add in like the loudest horror sound effect you've ever heard. Here's the actual sound effect, and then here's how scared that made me.
Okay guys, I have a confession to make. I know I talked a really big game about all the ghosts that have been spotted in this hotel. And as I was doing some research in my room, I started to realize that a lot of these stories might also be over-exaggerated a little bit. I know, apparently it's not just the ghost hunter shows that are doing it. Perhaps the hotel also has something to gain by playing up how haunted they are.
1911, maids up here are lighting acetylene gas lamps. There's a gas leak. This room blows up. The maid's name was Mrs. Wilson. It's believed that Mrs. Wilson is still with us in the hotel here. We've had guests walk into the bathroom. The light will turn on. Their clothes are put away in the dresser drawers and their bags are stacked in the closet.
I have a couple questions about this story, because the way he tells it in this show makes it sound like the housekeeper is haunting the hotel because she died in this explosion at the hotel. She didn't. She didn't die. I looked it up. There's articles about this story. This happened in 1911. A housekeeper accidentally blew up like half the hotel. She sustained injuries. She broke both of her ankles, and then she died. In 1950. She lived for 40 years after this explosion. Honestly, even if she is haunting the hotel, like if she died here in 1950, that's her own business. The hotel doesn't need to go around spreading this story about her fucking up and blowing up the hotel. That seems a little bit petty, doesn't it? The interesting thing about the housekeeper ghost is that it's said that most of what she does to haunt the hotel is folding people's clothes and making their beds while they're not in the room, which, sure, it is pretty difficult to prove a ghost did that because that's what happens at every hotel when you leave the room, because that's what housekeepers do. But what would you rather her ghost powers be? Blowing up your room? Fucking up and just exploding the hotel? That wouldn't be a very fun ghost, would it? Yeah, this room is actually haunted by a creeper from Minecraft. If you hear hissing behind you, run. I'll be honest, at this point, I'm kind of worried I'm not even gonna get kissed by this cowboy ghost.
And it's not just that. I also looked into the story about The Shining. And do you want to know what happened? What inspired this hotel's biggest claim to fame? On a cold winter night in the 1970s, Stephen King stayed in room 217 at the Stanley Hotel. It was the end of the tourist season at the hotel, so it was very empty. And while Stephen was sleeping, he had a nightmare that his son was being chased by a hose. And it was so scary that he wrote a whole ass book about it. That's right. As far as anyone knows, and as far as Stephen King has ever said, Stephen King saw 0 ghosts at the Stanley Hotel. 0 ghosts. You can book the room Stephen King stayed in, and it is booked for every Halloween for 7 years, because the hotel's booking system only goes 7 years into the future. And he never saw a ghost. Okay, but to be fair, just because Stephen King didn't see a ghost at the Stanley Hotel doesn't mean that there's nothing weird going on here, as I would find out when we got to talking to 2 tour guides at the hotel.
This is the 3rd, possibly the 4th haunted building I've worked at. This is definitely the most haunted place I've worked in town.
I think that there are far too many, far too close enough to sane people at the Stanley who have a ghost story.
When I started working here, I was thought, you know, maybe I'll see a ghost, hear some weird noise, you know, maybe once, twice a year. Some nights it's an every night thing.
And we also got to go on a tour of all the most haunted spots in the hotel after hours, where we found out a lot of juicy details about this hotel.
For one, there are a ton of pictures of ghosts that people have taken at the Stanley Hotel. And on this tour, they showed us a lot of them. And while some of them just look like it could have been like a camera glitch or like a blurry low light photo where you can't really tell what's going on, when it's 1 a.m. and you're in the underground cave tunnels underneath a haunted hotel with 2 strangers you've never met, and one of them shows you a picture of a ghost girl hiding behind the carriage that you're standing right next to, scary. The scariest ghost they told us about was a ghost named Dennis. They don't actually know the ghost's name, but they call him that because he's a menace. And I wish I had a video of some of the pictures they showed us, but Dennis looks creepy as hell. In every picture, he's just a shadowy figure with glowing eyes. In one of the pictures, he was posing in the background like this. And they told us a story about how one of the staff members saw Dennis in like the staff quarters, and Dennis started chasing him, and all the doors were locked, so he had to run upstairs and jump out a window to get away from Dennis. Do you have any idea how badly I didn't want to wake up in my hotel room that night and see Dennis staring at me? I was at a solid 5 or 6 on my little spook meter. But that all went down to a negative 5 or 6 when they started telling us a story about when Zach Baggins was there filming for Ghost Adventures. A big part of the Ghost Adventures episode at the Stanley was the carriage house, because that's where the hotel stores all of the mattresses that people have died on.
There's objects in here where some actual death happened, where the bodies were discovered on these beds.
So they spent like a ton of time in the episode trying to contact the spirits of people who have died on these mattresses. Can you guess what the tour guides told us? Yeah, none of that's true. Yeah, the hotel doesn't store mattresses that people died on like they're saving them for something. Save it. What would they be saving them for?
That's so funny.
We're an operating hotel, and believe it or not, we switch out mattresses every once in a while.
Yeah.
So Zach Baggins and his crew apparently just showed up and like looked through the window of the carriage house, saw mattresses, and were like, hey, let's go make some stuff up in there. The most interesting thing I took from the tour is that even though the tour guides know all of the spookiest things that have happened in the hotel, some of them don't 100% believe in ghosts. We were walking with one of the tour guides after he had showed us, I don't know, some of the most insane pictures of ghosts I've ever seen. And Jake asked him like, so when did you start believing in ghosts? And he was like, oh, I don't know if I believe in that stuff. Huh? So wait, what was all that about Dennis then? You get to just tell me about Dennis and make me scared and then not believe in him yourself? How is that fair? Don't get me wrong though, a lot of the staff actually do believe in ghosts, so much so that some even claim to have personal relationships with the ghosts they interact with most often.
Last summer, 2021, Paul, our former caretaker of the concert hall, gave me a birthday present. It was a little 20-cent Euro piece, French shoe. Left it on the front seat of my car 2 days after my birthday. I asked my husband, I asked my coworkers, I asked whoever, and then in a Ouija board session 3 weeks later, Paul claims it, and I carry it with me as a good luck token.
I'm a very naturally skeptical person, so when I hear stories like this, my brain immediately jumps to like, let's think of all the reasons why this might not be true. So rest assured, that's all I've been doing since I got back from the hotel. But like, you know, I have a hard time calling people liars and saying that their like first-hand personal accounts aren't true. What I do know though is that while we were getting this tour, there were at least 1 or 2 other tour guides that were following us and trying to prank us the entire time by tapping on the windows of the rooms we were in with sticks.
Because I remember one day it was like completely drained.
Who's there?
I guess that's just kind of like a fun little thing they do there. A fun little hazing designed to, I don't know, make me poop, shit my pants. There's nothing wrong with a little bit of hazing, except for when there is. So I am kind of curious how many of the paranormal experiences the staff have had at this place that were just pranks that they never found out were pranks. With me to the Stanley Hotel, I brought pretty much every ghost hunting device I could get my grubby little hands on. So let's turn off the lights in this hotel room and get to work. I'll have this EMF running the whole time. An EMF measures electromagnetic frequencies, which are usually emitted by man-made sources like electrical wiring or ghosts.
Is there anyone here right now? Okay, it's still at 0.
Another popular ghost hunting tool is a tiny twist-on flashlight like this. Because some ghosts might not be super powerful and might not be able to move really heavy objects, if you twist one of these flashlights right to the point where it's about to turn off, it makes it a lot easier for a ghost to communicate by flickering the light. I gave any potential ghosts a little demonstration on how to twist the light, and I was about to start trying to communicate when the unthinkable happened.
So if there's anyone here, let's maybe make...
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was just a moth that flew in front of the camera light and Jake tried to swat at it. So the light flickered for a second. Don't let my nervous little smile and laugh fool you. I actually was scared right here.
I guess having the only light in the room is kind of a, oh shit, you got it.
I got it.
Holy mackerel.
Fuck that guy.
Yet another ghost in the room tonight.
Next up, the spirit box. A spirit box is basically just a little radio that rapidly cycles through radio stations. And ghosts can apparently use those radio stations to communicate with us.
Okay, now I would like to ask again, is there anybody in this room aside from me and Jake? Okay, we got a little something. I don't know what it said. Kind of sounded like, oh, you can do it. Very encouraging ghost. I do appreciate that. Thank you. Is there anybody that is maybe... Okay. That actually sounded... I said, is there anybody? And it kind of sounded like it might have said, there is somebody.
I'll let you guys listen to it a couple times. Let me know what you think.
That is maybe.
Full disclosure, I actually am pretty weirded out by this. This is a pretty strange occurrence. It does sound a lot like there's somebody, and so I will give 1 point
to the ghost for that one. That was pretty good, buddy. If you're a ghost, make no noise happen. Like, make it so no words are said.
I also have a thermal camera to look for cold spots, which could be ghosts.
Wait, what the fuck? I just turned it on and there's literally a cold spot right here. Actually, it feels wet. Oh, should I smell it? Okay, it kind of smells like it might be like a cleaner or something, I think. But it definitely is wet.
Hey, Danny, it's future Danny here. Could you stop touching that? It's definitely pee. There was a small wet spot, and then a little trail, and then a big wet spot, like somebody started to have an accident, managed to control it for a second, and then hobbled 2 feet, and then just let it all out. Which leads to the scariest question of them all. Why did I put my face in that? Why was my first instinct when confronted with a wet spot in a hotel room to get my nose and lips as close to that baby as I could? I'm at home. It's been a week since I was at this hotel, and my spook meter is at a 10 out of 10. I think I was possessed by a piss goblin. Luckily, in the rest of the room, we didn't find any more piss. We also didn't find any ghosts, but at that point, I was more worried about the piss thing. Now, full disclosure, I've never 100% liked the way that paranormal investigators go about looking for spirits. Everybody goes in and sits on the floor and is like, "Who's there? Can anyone say your name?"
Who are you? What's your name? Did you pass away in one of those beds?
I think it's a little bit condescending. So I think if we're gonna find anything in this room, we're gonna have to get a little bit more drastic. Howdy, y'all. If there be any rootin' tootin' cowboys that like a good time, why don't you go ahead and flicker the flashlight? Is there any ghosts around me? Alright, well, I guess if you don't want to come out, I'm gonna have to keep all this gold myself.
But the only thing coming from my vial of gold was a puddle of gold. So I guess my method of ghost hunting was a giant waste of time. And sure, I did get this sick picture out of it, but unless I ever make a half country, half hyperpop album and I need cover art, it's pretty much useless.
Good night. Tell the haberdasher I say hello.
I will.
Okay, I am currently laying in bed in the dark in this hotel room. This is the first time I've been alone with all the lights off in this room. First off, let's do a bed review, dude. This bed? Very squishy. A lot squishier than I thought. So it should be a pretty cozy night if I can get to sleep. That being said, I'm not gonna lie, I am scared. It's honestly very frustrating to be scared right now. I think in an attempt to avoid sitting in complete silence, I just started saying anything that was on my mind, which resulted in me performing what reads like some sort of paranoid ghost-themed stand-up set. Why are people only scared of ghosts when it's dark? The fact that ghosts would only come out when it's dark, it implies that ghosts only exist to scare living people? I don't subscribe to that. Why would that be? All right. Yeah, man. Sick. Whatever makes you feel less scared, dude. Ghosts don't just come out in the dark. They also come out in the daytime. So you should be scared right now, but you should also have been scared all day. Very clever. Definitely having all of the pictures that they showed us on the tour, replaying in my mind is not gonna help, so I really ought to stop doing that before I really try to get into it. So if my brain could just stop with that, and then we could proceed with the rest of the experience, that'd be great. As I laid there, I could almost feel my brain wanting to play tricks on me. I was so hyper aware of every shadow in the room, every sound that I heard, every feeling in my body, and it took me a solid 30 minutes to calm myself down enough to try to go to sleep. All right, well, I'm just gonna try to go to bed. Good night. I did it, baby. That's right, I slept in a haunted room in the most haunted hotel for 5 hours. And I slept like a rock, dude. There could have been a haberdasher twerking on my bed all night, and I would not have woken up. Luckily, it does look like nothing paranormal happened that night, because I would have been pretty pissed if I missed that. So look, I can't tell you if there for sure are or aren't ghosts in the Stanley Hotel, but what I can tell you is that you're definitely not guaranteed a paranormal experience. What I can bet, though, is that it's still probably gonna be pretty scary. Even if you don't believe in ghosts, it's like turbulence on an airplane. I don't actually think the plane is gonna crash, but when it's happening, I am clutching my armrests. Speaking of which, I think I gotta catch my flight back home. What's up, Greg? I was not expecting to make a video today, but I've been getting so many DMs about this situation that I had to stop what I was doing. I had to put down the very important things that I was doing to sit down and make an emergency video. This is an emergency video, folks. Literally like 90% of my DMs have been about this for the past 2 days, so I had to come on here and let everybody know that Merge Mansion, the game whose ads I've made a few videos about, has gotten Pedro Pascal in an ad. I am making this video to let you all know that Pedro Pascal is in a Merge Mansion ad. Actually, he's in 2. So you guys probably remember I made a video on this channel about Merge Mansion in the past, and then I actually made a second one on my second channel that probably not all of you have seen, when they got Kathy Bates to play the live action version of the grandma in their ads. If you don't know, Merge Mansion is like this home gardening fixer-upper type game where you inherit an old mansion, I think, and you're like upgrading it and you're doing gardening and stuff like that. But then also all of the ads have this like murder mystery element to them, and I don't know if the game has that in it. I still refuse to play the game. I'm not gonna play it. I don't want these ads to work on me, all right? My mind is an impenetrable fortress today, okay? I'm not falling for these ads. I see ads like this where a company is trying something fun and exciting, trying to shove their game down my throat, and I say, no, I'm not falling for this advertisement. I'm gonna see a commercial for Coca-Cola and then drive to the gas station and make an impulse purchase like a normal person. Anyway, I'll show you the first of the ads now. It's called A Twisted Game.
Honestly, I don't even know where to start. On the surface, you've got this perfectly normal family.
Okay, so this ad introduces a new character to the Merge Mansion lore, which I am a little bit familiar with, honestly, more familiar than I would like. So what I know so far is that the granny has murdered somebody. I cannot figure out from the ads who she's murdered, and I don't think that it's even answered in these ads, honestly. She's murdered someone, and then her granddaughter, who is the younger woman character in this game, is like slowly uncovering clues to what's going on. Now we've got Pedro Pascal in here, and he's playing Detective Tim Rockford, and he's come in to try to crack the case open.
On the surface, you've got this perfectly normal family. A young girl, her grandmother. You know, this is apple pie America.
A girl and a grandma. That's apple pie America, baby. Nothing more American than a girl and her grandma. Sorry, Europeans. Sorry, anyone anywhere else in the world. Actually, I don't know why I singled out Europe. Sorry, anybody anywhere except for America. You can't relate to apple pie or grandmas. We made them up, and just like everything else in American culture, it is starting to kill people. Please help.
It's like everybody is hiding something.
There's no body, no smoking gun, just a lot of knives.
See, this is where it loses me. The whole ad is framed as a trailer for a not real movie or TV show where Pedro Pascal is trying to figure out what's going on inside this home. I'm not sure what this lady is. I think it's like maybe a true crime podcast, so now we're not only getting like an investigation into the case, but we're also getting someone to comment on it. And then you guys are also getting someone to comment on both of those things. I like the true crime podcast element to it, honestly. It adds a fun little flair to it. What confuses me most is like, what do you mean there's no body?
There's no body.
Can you please explain to me what the crime is that you guys are trying to solve? Was someone murdered or not? Who was it? Just say it one time in one of the ads. Say who was murdered.
No smoking gun, just a lot of knives.
No murder weapons, unfortunately, just a shit ton of knives. So unfortunately, nothing suspicious has been found yet. Just a freakish obsession with knives, and not cooking knives. These are knives that are sold to be weapons.
There's no body, No smoking gun, just a lot of knives.
The fact that she's like, there's no smoking guns, it's just knives, makes me think that by like no body, she also means like, we can't find a body. The only thing we found is this skeleton. Super confusing. I'm worried that people are gonna think that I'm like sponsored by Merge Mansion by keep continuing to make videos about Merge Mansion. I'm not, okay? I'm not gonna play this game. I would be lying if I said that my curiosity wasn't piqued at least a little bit by this ad, because I'm like, who died? Who died and how did they die? How is knives not evidence? There's knives everywhere. They find them on every surface in this house. That's not evidence? Is the investigation to figure out if there even was a crime? Can you call 911 to be like, hey, a crime happened. Can you come figure out what it is? I don't know. I feel like I've been victim to some sort of injustice. I'm not sure what, but there's knives everywhere. Please come. That'd actually be an insane new genre of YouTube videos. You've heard of BuzzFeed Unsolved? How about BuzzFeed Unfound? We haven't even found the crime yet, let alone solve it. Okay, here's the next ad. It's called Think Like a Grandma.
I was finally in, but still couldn't put the pieces together. What am I missing? Crime scene? Weapon?
You're missing a crime, I think. I still couldn't put the pieces together. What crime was I solving? What am I doing here? Who is this girl and this grandma? What is my job?
To catch a grandma, you have to think like a grandma.
Oh shit, okay, so that looks like some evidence there. A boiling pie? So maybe there was a crime committed, I admit it. Maybe somebody was murdered and then Granny made a pie out of him. Good old apple pie America, you know? You got loving granddaughter, murderous grandma, and pie grandpa. Nothing more American than that, baby. God bless America.
Think.
Another thing you'll notice is that Kathy Bates is not the grandma anymore. I don't know who that lady is, but that's not Kathy Bates. So they, I guess, could not afford to hire Kathy Bates and Pedro Pascal at the same time, which would be a pretty crazy collab. I guess it's probably not called collabs when it's like a movie or an ad. But this must be super confusing for the detective too. He gets pictures of all of the suspects and the grandma looks like Kathy Bates, and then he gets there and this is the grandma. He's like, okay, I was solving a murder, but now we have to solve like who you are. You shapeshifter. What are you?
Think. What would grandma do?
He doesn't know the crime yet. That's why he's saying, what would a grandma do? What sort of crimes would a grandma commit? Tax evasion? Turning her husband into a pie? Maybe they just live in a small town where literally nothing is going on. And so he's like, I'll put police tape up at some old lady's house and harass her. Sure, what the hell? Just try to figure out what crime she may have committed in her past. That's a cool little touch too, where it like turns into the video game graphics at the end there. And this is an homage to one of the earlier ads too that I covered in the first video. Anyway, either way, some pretty insane marketing. People have been talking about this nonstop, at least in my DMs, and I've seen people talking about it on Twitter too. And also this ad from 4 days ago has 7.4 million views, which is pretty crazy. All of their other ads have like maybe 20 to 60,000 views. So getting our boy Pedro in there really pushed the ad. Now, a lot of the discourse that I've seen around this ad, both in DMs and otherwise, have been people being like, there has to be something fishy going on. How did they get Pedro Pascal in their ad? How did this random shitty game get Pedro Pascal in their ad? For example, this TikTok.
The next time someone asks me what my favorite conspiracy theory is, I'm gonna tell them that I think the Merge Mansion is a money laundering operation. Because how the fuck can they afford an ad with Pedro Pascal in this day and age, in this economy?
Controversial opinion? They do make that much money.
Even Candy Crush didn't have that kind of money. What is going on?
Candy Crush for sure had that much money, and Merge Mansion also for sure has that much money, dude. I hate to break it to you, but mobile games make a shit ton of money. How much money does Merge Mansion make? Currently, the game earns more than $10 million per month from its players. So far, the game has bagged more than $160 million. So they make $10 million a month. How much does Pedro Pascal make? Okay, for The Last of Us, Variety reported that he earns $600,000 per episode. So I do hate to break it to you, but Merge Mansion definitely has enough money to hire Pedro Pascal without being a money laundering scheme, which a lot of people in the comments can attest to. This person said, listen, if you've played Merge Mansion and are addicted, you'll get it. They're constantly pushing buying things, but not enough for me to stop playing it. So they make a lot of money from their players, and I'm guessing based on the 7 million views they got on that ad by just posting it for free on YouTube, like they didn't even need to put it in the Super Bowl or anything, like I'm guessing that they're gonna get a good return on whatever investment. I mean, he makes $600,000 per episode of a TV show. I'm guessing they probably paid him less than that for a 1 minute long YouTube video. If you want a real conspiracy theory, here's a real conspiracy, dude. For The Last of Us, he earned 4.5 million. My conspiracy is that Pedro Pascal is actually a huge Merge Mansion fan, and while he made $4.5 million from The Last of Us, he spent $4.6 million on Merge Mansion upgrades. He's in immense debt to Merge Mansion, to the grandma herself perhaps even. And when Merge Mansion caught wind that Pedro Pascal is the owner of the account that owes them $4.6 million, they said, hey, listen, we'll wipe out all your debt for one measly little commercial. Actually, 2 measly little commercials. And what could Pedro say? But okay, fine, I'll do it. I bet he took the job because it was funny. No, I bet they paid him. I bet he took the job because they paid him a shit ton of money, honestly. I like that, like, people's only 2 theories are like, this is a money laundering scheme, or he took it because he's funny. There's no way this game that makes hundreds of millions of dollars paid an actor to act. Danny Gonzalez is gonna have a field day with this. I mean, they're right, dude. I am over here having a field day. What's up, Greg, and welcome back to another episode of This Tunnel Lady is kind of cringe. Oh, no, Danny, watch out. She's right under me, isn't she? In case you're unfamiliar like I was just a few weeks ago, the Tunnel Lady, aka Kala, aka Engineer Everything on TikTok, makes TikTok videos documenting her experience digging a massive tunnel system under her suburban house. Is this safe? I do not know. Is this legal? I also do not know. But is this really, really good content? I do not know. After having heard about her for a while but never really looking into her, this is the first TikTok I saw of her. She posted it back in November of last year. So I figured I would show this to you guys so you could kind of learn about her in the same way that I learned about her. That way we can be on the same page.
I have a new problem in my suburban mine. It is not this water, but rather that I am getting out of range of the minecart. Every castle building stone has to be carried up this tunnel to the antechamber.
Okay, immediately, this project is so much more expansive than I thought. She says so many things in rapid succession that could be their own entire subplot. 1, the giant pool of water in her mine. 2, she has dug so deep that she's out of range of her minecart. Kala, how deep have you dug? She's like, it's also getting really hot down here. All of the rock is molten. It makes it really hard to dig. And 3, she says that because she's out of range of her minecart, it's making it a lot harder to get her castle building stones out of the mine.
Every castle building stone has to be carried up this tunnel.
Is there a castle now? People just call her Tunnel Lady. I thought that there was just a tunnel. She's got so much more going on than I thought. I also like that she says the giant pool of water isn't a problem. I guess that just goes to show how little I know about suburban mining, because to me, that seems like a huge problem. How do you dig deeper when it's just water? You can't dig water, can you? Needless to say, there's a lot of lore going on in this TikTok, and I need to know more. So, like Kala digging into the Earth's mantle, it's time to get to the bottom of this. This next TikTok is Kala's first ever TikTok she posted to this account, and in it she introduces a big new project that she's going to be undertaking, building a storm shelter in her basement.
I am about to embark on a new and complex project.
I like that stupid project flashes on the screen as she's describing it. She's all excited about it. It kind of makes it seem like this is an interjection from future Kala, like 2 years from now. Stupid project, you should have never started this thing. What are you doing? I'm trying to warn you via CapCut editing.
I'm planning to construct a storm shelter off the side of my basement. It's going to take a very long time.
Well, she was definitely right that it was going to take a long time. She posted this in October of 2022, and she is still digging. That being said, it is interesting to know that the original point of the tunnel was to just be a storm shelter. I feel like she's past that point. I feel like digging like 10 feet into the ground would have been enough to protect just one person from a storm. But there she is, just still going. Why do I feel like she knows something we don't? She's either preparing for a cataclysmic storm that none of us know is coming, or she has ulterior motives. She's like, the main purpose of this tunnel will be to protect me from tornadoes. Secondarily, I have been hearing a sinister voice booming from the earth, begging me to free it from its subterranean prison. So needless to say, I think this should be a pretty fun project. In all seriousness, no, I can totally understand why she would want to keep digging after she started. If she turned around now, she could be like 5 feet away from that giant diamond.
The shelter itself will be cut into this wall here. This is off the side of my bunker home office.
That is a very interesting home office setup. You know, I was wondering at first if she was planning on finishing the tunnel when she was done with it to sort of make it just an extension of her house and make it furnished and everything. After seeing her home office, I gotta say, I don't think that's likely. Kala's home office is literally the Batcave. She's getting work done in the Batcave. This tunnel's gonna be perfect for hiding from storms, tornadoes, the Riddler, he's after me. She also pans over to reveal she has a green screen in her basement.
Behind the green screen.
I am very intrigued by Kala. Who is this mysterious woman? I thought the tunnel was gonna be the most interesting thing about her, but it seems like she's got a lot going on. Quite frankly, all this mystery is making me thirsty. But luckily, unlike Kala, I don't have a water problem. I have a water solution. Today's sponsor, Arup. Arup is a great way to meet your hydration goals because sometimes you're just not in the mood for water, you want a little bit more zest to it. And Arup flavors your water via scent. You place this little scent pod on top. Right now it's deactivated, but as I pull it up like this, it becomes activated and air is able to flow through the pod into the nozzle and then into your mouth, where your mouth feels like it's tasting the flavor. In this case, I have a lime scent pod on here, but they come with a variety of flavors. So even though I'm just drinking water with no chemicals added or nothing, I feel like I'm drinking something that's lime flavored. One of the best parts of Arup is that you're getting all the fun of having flavored water without any of the downsides, like added sugar or sweeteners or chemicals. It's just straight up water and smell. I like sipping from my Arup while I'm writing videos, doing work, even filming, as you can see. That extra bit of flavor just puts a little bit of pep in my step. And trust me, if you've seen the way I step before, you know that it's sad and it needs some pep. So if you want to try out this revolutionary hydration technology for yourself, head on over to the link in the description, get yourself an Arup, get yourself a bunch of fun flavors. Thanks to Arup for sponsoring this video. Thank you to you guys for checking out Arup. Just 6 days after posting the original TikTok, she posted this video where she goes over the litany of problems she has already run into.
We're running into some problems that have put us into a dead halt. Unfortunately, there is a little bit of water seepage. It's not a blocker, but it is irritating.
Yeah, I hate to break it to you, Kala, but it's gonna get a lot worse. If you think that amount of water is irritating, you're gonna be pissed in like a year when you have a literal well in the middle of your mind.
We have run out of space for excavated rock and have to get the elevator working now.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna need to figure out a way to get the rock out of there, because otherwise it's not mining. You're just moving around rocks. You can't just be like, all right guys, I finished the tunnel system. It's actually the exact size that my basement used to be, but I moved all of the rock into the basement, so now I don't have a basement anymore. I just have a basement-sized tunnel, which sucks because that's where all my bat gear was, and the penguin actually is after me right now.
The power cord has started smoking and sparking. The biggest problem is that the jackhammer has stopped working.
Okay, great. Perfect. Excellent update. You're like 2 feet into the tunnel and every single part of the operation is already going wrong. Even things that aren't mining related are going wrong. That extension cord? Not a mining issue. That did not require any prior excavation knowledge. You just need a new extension cord. That kind of just feels like her being like, everything is going wrong. Gravel is piling up. The jackhammer is smoking. My blender stopped working, so I can't even make milkshakes anymore. But hey, I guess that's just what happens when you commit to tunneling into the earth. No more milkshakes. Ever again. Yeah, it is really bad. You're digging a hole under your house. You cannot afford to cut corners. So this is a structure she was building as sort of an elevator to get rocks out of her basement. She's building like a mining elevator, and I guess while she was building it, it collapsed. I gotta say, at this point, I am pretty concerned about the success of her project. She's still just a few days in, and like, I don't know if she's done anything right yet. She does seem pretty nonchalant about it though, you know? You know, if her entire tunnel collapses and her house falls into the underworld, I think she'll take it in stride. I gotta say, I knew that digging a tunnel would be like a big undertaking, but it wasn't until I started watching these videos where I started to realize all of the logistics that go into it. There's a lot that can go wrong. In this video, she takes a Geiger counter into her tunnel and realizes that there's like twice as much radiation as there was in the rest of her house.
The nuclear radiation readings so high in the storm shelter excavation. Every time I measure it, the counts per minute are more than double what they are upstairs.
Kala, come on. You gotta figure that out. To be fair, I don't know why the radiation would be higher underground than it would be in the rest of her house. But I'm not in the mine. It's not my mine. You gotta figure that out, dude. Yeah, the top comment is radon ? That's not good. The next video, she's doing the same thing with a Ouija board. Hey guys, does anyone know why every time I take the Ouija board into the tunnel, it spells out, I must consume the souls of the innocent? It doesn't do that anywhere else in my house.
One of the reasons for extending my tunnel system is to harvest a layer of building stone. So far, I only found one good layer, about a foot thick. It is fractured in ready-made rectangular prisms.
It's crazy. I'm finding all of these perfect building blocks. They're rectangular. They look great. They're gonna fit right in my neighborhood because they're actually already the same color as my neighbor's foundation. Whoa. Hey, excuse me. You can't be in here. Oh my God, TV, couch, foosball table? This can only mean one thing. Yeah, you dug into my basement. I just found a naturally occurring basement mine. What? All this stuff is gonna be perfect for my castle. Whoa, no, this is my stuff, dude. Hey, who the fuck are you? Are you the Riddler? No. Can you get out of my house? His first riddle. Oh, you dastardly scoundrel. Okay, I'm not a scoundrel. You're no match for my bat gun. Oh, that's just a normal gun. Now, despite having seemingly no experience building a tunnel at the beginning of this video, she is learning at a rapid rate. Just a few months into this project, she posts this video sort of boasting about her engineering skills.
I'm in a tunnel with 5,000 pounds of wet concrete over my head. And the only thing separating me from becoming a pancake is my own engineering.
Extremely impressive. I, for one, could never. I get claustrophobic if my clothes are too tight. At this point, it seems like some of the things going wrong start to calm down. She starts learning super fast. Lots of new skills. She starts posting videos about managing the water problem in her tunnel, learning electrical so she can have power down in her mine. And mind you, while all of this being self-taught is extremely impressive, it also kind of makes it terrifying to watch. In one of her videos where she's doing the electrical of the tunnel, she describes electricity as magic.
Before this project, I had very little experience with electrical. In fact, I used to consider it magic, which it basically kind of is.
You should definitely not consider it magic anymore. You should definitely consider it science at this point. I also like that she added in a sound like she's casting a spell.
It kind of is.
Yeah, so I learned all this electrical stuff. It's basically magic. You're cool to me, says Chris. You're amazing, says Jen. Impressed with you, says Sylvan Energy Solutions. You would be impressed, Sylvan Energy Solutions. You sound like an electrical company, but then you have like a magical owl as your profile picture. I'm impressed that you figured out electricity is magic. It takes most people a long time to figure that out. Now, it's not all fun and games on Kala's account. While she is getting a lot of positive, supportive comments, at some point, the tide began to shift a little bit, and people began to wonder if she was really qualified to be undertaking such a project. I think it happened somewhere around a year or so into it when she did this year in review and showed off everything that she's done in the tunnel and learned so far.
It's just been over a year since I started.
Oh my God. She has learned a lot. She learned to teleport. Maybe she did learn magic in there. She's like, as I tunnel closer and closer to the Dark Lord, he is anointing me with more and more powers. Teleportation has made things much more convenient in the tunnel. Convenient and scary, because sometimes I'm not in complete control of it, and I just teleport to parts of the earth that I have not tunneled to yet.
In August of 22, I cut an opening off the side of the sub-basement and started to carve into the solid rock. Fabricated an elevator to lift material. I used hundreds of concrete blocks and yards of hand-mixed concrete.
She's learned a lot doing this. My only question is, has she learned why she's doing this yet? I feel like that would be valuable insight to have, maybe, because it's definitely not a storm shelter anymore. Are we allowed to build tunnels? I've always felt like my home is missing a dangerous mine shaft. The city inspector watching this right now. And it turns out that comment was kind of onto something, because eventually Kala did get shut down by the city, as detailed in this article. How Tunnel Girl's DIY storm shelter took over TikTok, then people turned against her. In 2022, a TikToker began documenting an elaborate underground construction in her home. As her videos garnered traction, people began questioning the safety and ethics of her project. Okay, safety I understand. Definitely, I could see how people would think this isn't safe. Ethics? She like bringing kids into the mine or something? I guess ethical concerns could boil down to the fact that, you know, she could be like digging a giant sinkhole under her neighborhood, and that could affect her neighbors' houses as well. That's pretty fair. You know, I would be concerned if I found out one of my neighbors was like hollowing out the ground beneath my house. So that could be the ethical concern. It could also be like releasing horrors from the earth beyond our comprehension. One of those two, I guess. What began as a characteristically quirky TikTok anecdote of a person on a curious home renovation style mission has become a messy source of debate, speculation, and even political contention. Political contention? Did I miss something? What happened? Experts are worried as the tunnel appears to be headed straight for the White House. And she has a gun. Is she planning to hop out of the floorboards of the White House and assassinate the president? Or does she have a map to treasure? Kala has refused to comment. Over time, her project became increasingly ambitious. By August 2023, Kala referred to her project as an underground tunnel system. See, that's a big leap. That makes me think she's not being totally honest with her motives here, because that's quite the escalation from the storm shelter she was building originally. I swear, man, these influencers, you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. The next line of the article is like, by January of 2024, Kala referred to her project as a subterranean metropolis. What she's involved in isn't new. It's known as hobby tunneling, a passion for underground digging typically associated with men. Ah, yes, the masculine urge to dig. Have you ever noticed all men are born with this innate desire to burrow into the earth and hide from God? Over the past year, viewers have questioned whether Kala is qualified to undertake the complex construction work depicted in the videos. She has repeatedly acknowledged that she has no formal training, but believes that she can teach herself the necessary skills to perform the work safely. In one comment under a July video, she clarified that she is an engineer, as her TikTok handle suggests, but a computer engineer, not a civil or structural one, as people presume. Yeah, no, I could see why people would have gotten that twisted. I'm not saying that she intentionally tricked people. In fact, I think it was probably an honest mistake. She is an engineer. But I could totally understand why people would be shocked to find out that the woman hauling thousands of tons of rock out of her basement is in fact not that kind of engineer. In November, Kala was interviewed by NBC News clarifying that the project wasn't a doomsday bunker. Yeah, well, that doesn't really clarify anything, because like if it was a doomsday bunker, that would have clarified what it is, but now I'm just more, like that's just more confusing now. I'm not really a prepper or concerned about that kind of thing at all, but I just thought it would be neat to have, like a little protective shelter area, she told the outlet. And so I started working on that, and also it's a challenge, and I live for challenges. It keeps me preoccupied and keeps me entertained. Okay, well, there's the answer we were all looking for, I guess. She just likes it. She's having fun. And at the end of the day, isn't that all that matters? In late December, videos expressing concern about the impact Kala's project was having on her neighbors began to circulate. Oh, okay, no, that wasn't all that matters. Then on December 31st, Kala responded to rumors that her project was being shut down with a video explaining that local city officials had halted it.
So they did give me a stop work order and are requiring an immediate evaluation by a professional engineer. Fortunately, contrary to few rumors here, it is constructed entirely below the slab of my house.
Wait, how is it entirely under the slab of your house?
It is constructed entirely below the slab of my house.
Didn't you start at the edge of your basement and then dig like 30 feet in one direction? Maybe I just don't understand the shape of her house, but I feel like she's definitely in her neighbor's yard at this point. Also, wouldn't making the tunnel system completely under the slab of her house actually be super dangerous? Because that's the dirt that your house is sitting on. So the project is halted. Kala is waiting to get her tunnel system approved. And that's pretty much the whole story right now. Or is it? While watching through all of her videos, I uncovered a bit of a strange subplot that not enough people are talking about. Bedroom remodeling. Previous occupants considered this room haunted and reported frequent creepy occurrences and ghostly encounters. I'm planning on reimagining the room and renovating the walls/carpet. The bulkhead needs to be fixed and the shoddy trim replaced. I love the curtains. Okay, hold up. You just listed a bunch of things wrong with this room, but one of them seems way more important than the others. Tell us about the haunted room. Why is it haunted? What is the ghost? You, Kala, would not make a very good realtor. Okay, this is the primary bedroom. This window has a great view. There's plenty of space in here. Little goblin there. All carpet, floors, of course. Sorry, goblin?
I forgive you.
No, I wasn't apologizing to you.
Oh.
Why is there a goblin? Okay, sure, there is a goblin. But the rest of the house is really nice, you know? When he's not stinking up the place. Yeah, sure, it's a great house, but I'm supposed to sleep in here. Is that little freak gonna watch me sleep every night? I didn't want a goblin. Oh my god, goblin this, goblin that. Dude, if you love the goblin so much, why don't you just fuck him already? I don't love the goblin.
Be kind with your words, please.
I just want a normal house. Nice windows, nice floors, no goblin. Well, there's no goblin in the tunnel. Why don't you just sleep down there? There's a tunnel? Yeah, under the whole house. It's huge. You're gonna love it. And don't worry, it's only directly under this house. Wait. If there's a giant hole directly under this house, wouldn't that mean... Uh-oh!
I do not fear death because I have no reason to live.
Oh, that's really sad. The wall hangings were left behind by the last occupant who was twice admitted to a psychiatric hospital for insanity? What? So am I the only one thinking this? This is why she's digging the tunnel, to get away from the ghost. I knew there must be a better reason, and this is it. She's got a ghost in her house. But unfortunately, Kala, I do have to inform you that ghosts can hunt the ground under your house too. They own the ground rights all the way to the core of the earth, actually, unfortunately. And the air rights too. So don't try building a castle over your house either, you won't be safe there. The first time I saw this video, I was stunned. I was like, how were you only talking about this sometimes? But don't worry, she does have another video about the room where she goes into more detail, because so many people asked about it.
Yes, this room has a dark past, including haunting and madness. I rented it to several friends over the years, and they reported voices, hallucinations, and negative energy.
Okay, did you tell them that you were actively tunneling underneath them? Because I feel like that could explain at least one of those things. They reported hearing voices, banging, jackhammer sounds, creepers hissing, zombies moaning.
I am currently renovating the room slowly as a side project, hoping to freshen it up for a brighter future.
Okay, so if two of your friends have been driven to insanity by the room,
they reported voices, hallucinations.
I don't think that renovating it is gonna help. I mean, by all means, go for it. I support the renovation. There's no reason the room needs to also look insanely haunted just because there's a ghost there. Turn it into like a nice little zen oasis that just happens to torment the souls of those in it. Maybe those two things will cancel each other out and it'll just feel like a normal room. You know what would be a better use for all that castle rock actually that you've been finding in the tunnel? Just fill in that room. Fill the whole thing up with dirt. Just be like, we don't have that room anymore. Also, Kala, it sounds like you've had several friends rent this room from you.
I rented it to several friends over the years.
Why do you keep renting it to people if you know it ruins their lives? You, Kala, would not make a very good realtor.
The only thing left behind is this drawing of a tree that she always kept with her. On the reverse side, there is a photo of a motivational writer who she had a deep parasocial relationship with.
It just feels like you're kind of throwing her under the bus for that one. Doesn't seem like that has anything to do with the ghost.
The room is the second most haunted place in the house.
Second? Okay, this is wild. Right? Who would have thought that the amateur mining operation this woman had going on in her basement was actually not the most interesting thing about her? But I am so hooked. Please tell us about the other room.
My house has two haunted areas. One is this troubled bedroom, and the second is this normal-looking closet.
I like that she says normal-looking closet as the camera creeps in toward a terrifying closet with horror music swelling. Ah, yes, totally normal-looking closet, the kind every house in the 1800s has.
Oddly, I was not able to view the bedroom with that closet before buying the house, and it was still locked during the home inspection.
Damn, that's really weird. Who was the realtor? You?
I felt some suspicion, but after closing, everything seemed fine.
What happened there? Did she just trip in the middle of the take and continue on like nothing happened?
Closing, everything
This is the most interesting person in the world.
I was upstairs cooking with a few roommates, and we heard a muffled pounding sound from downstairs. But the room was empty. A moment of silence was broken by renewed racket from inside the closet.
Okay, well, it's time to sell the house. I think you have to sell the house. I don't know how many rooms your house has, but if two of them are uninhabitable due to ghosts, You have to move. If 2 of the rooms in your house turn you into a husk of a human being, fill them with rocks. On a serious note, Kala, if you are watching this, buy a carbon monoxide detector if you don't have one already. Carbon monoxide poisoning can do this type of thing to people and make them think that they are going insane, so maybe look into that. How crazy would it be if she bought a carbon monoxide detector and found a leak and she fixed it, and like the second the carbon monoxide was gone, she was like, why the fuck is there a tunnel in my house? All right, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did and you're new here, make sure you subscribe and turn on my notifications to join Greg. Greg is what I call my family here on YouTube. We're a family, we're an army, we're a collective. So go ahead and subscribe and turn on my notifications to join Greg. I'll see you guys next time with a very interesting video. Bye-bye.